Buda On The Block, and I'm here with...
I'm Jordan.
Jordan from?
Around here.
Jordan from around here. All right, Jordan from around here. You have any kids?
No, one day maybe, but not right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're just asking a few parenting questions. You don't have to actually be a parent to answer these questions. Opinions are never wrong. I was wondering, do you think that a parent should be able to discipline their child any way they see fit, including physically?
I don't... The problem with physical discipline is that, oh yeah, it made some, in a stereotypical sense, like some strapping young men, like some people that are like definitely stronger, at least thicker skins. The psychological trauma afterward that I've seen statistics for, and just like all this kind of stuff, I don't think it's worth it. I think positive reinforcement is ultimately something that will take you farther, even if you have to step back sometimes and actually scold them.
How would you garner respect from a child?
Not only for... I think part of the problem is the assumption that you have to do everything for the kids so they know they'll always rely on you, which is a part of it. At least that's what it's like with my mother. With other aspects, it's more just like setting the standard that you are a person as well. And I don't think kids recognize that their parents are people for a really long time. So it's hard to make that connection. Certain circumstances, oh, they can tell they're a person because they work so much and all the kinds of things. For some people, it's a lot more immediate. I think it's recognizing the humanity and like separate of consciousness you are to your parents, and recognizing that, okay, I may like this thing, but they won't, or I may want to do this thing, but they won't want me to, and if I disobey, they're going to get really mad.
So you're saying to set a form of consequences or a type of structure, I guess?
Just set a basic structure, like teach them the house rules and tell them that there's rules everywhere, even when they say there aren't. There's just unsaid social rules during these circumstances that you have to acknowledge.
All right,
that's just a social contract.
What age do you think would be appropriate for your child to have sex?
Well, I hope nothing happens to them when they're very young. I do think, I'm just going to say it for the sake of just formality, the legal age of consent. I lost my age at the legal age of consent. And it was definitely like, I think after a decade of fantasizing about it, when you're hit with something not satisfying, they'll learn more from that. Or if they learn earlier on in general, then I'm not going to say how or where. Sometimes that either creates more sexual trauma down the road that they'll have to confront, or just their relationship with sex will be very changed. Sex is a very important thing, and I think when the child finally acknowledges that to the parent, it's very important because they want that advice. They want to learn more about how they view things, instead of being influenced by outside sources like media and stuff like that. I think sex itself should just be a conversation to acknowledge when a kid, even if you're just catching them doing something they probably shouldn't be doing. I think parents should, like at the very least, lay a ground rule or social acceptable standard for it. And for me, it is just 18. I think it's the right time. I think you're mature enough to understand what sex is at that point and to respect the other person involved.
If the parent gets remarried, great. Do you think the child should call the spouse mom or dad?
It's entirely up to them. I think for respect's sake, you should continue to call them your mother or father, at least in some formal sense. You can say it in private, anything else. But at least for that, like say he's my dad. Like if you're trying to explain who this person is. I've had circumstances where I've had friends who have had really shitty dads. They've tried supporting them. They tried setting them up through like, they were Army, so they had GI Bill, and they got them through college. But also the father was really distant, and ultimately was very emotionally abusive, and even them separating, they still call them dad, but they don't talk to their dad. Like, you can still call somebody your father if you genuinely had that family structure growing up. If it's just somebody that is effectively a sperm donor, you can choose to call them your biological father, but I think that's the most you can really say. You can just say, hey, this is Dave. He donated sperm 20 years ago.
I get you. Legal in New York City. Do you think that it's appropriate to smoke weed in front of the kids, like cigarettes?
No.
No, and you're smoking right now.
I'm a hypocrite. What can I say?
No, you're not.
Well, listen, I think it's amazing that it's legal, but it's the same with like having somebody see kids seeing people openly drunk in the middle of the square, or homeless people yelling or saying something they shouldn't, kind of square. You can't help it from happening. It's the state of New York, or specifically the city of New York, and we're right in the heart of Manhattan right now. Kids and people in general are going to see a lot of shit they don't want to see, and it's in our best interest to prevent them from seeing things, but it's life. They're going to find out at some point. It's up to your parents to basically discipline the child and say, listen, there's a reason why there's a legal drinking age, there's a reason why there's a legal smoking age. If you do something under our roof that we know about, that we can like prepare for ahead of time, and we have a trusting relationship with you with substances because we were young once, that's different. But if you're going around getting drunk or high everywhere, as a parent, I feel like you should at the very least set some ground rules. If not, just say, no, I'd rather if you smoke, you just do it where it's monitored, or where you have a friend around, or we know you're not just doing it to yourself to drown anything.
Okay. All right. Do you think there should be a cap on child support, or do you think the system should be reworked?
Wow, you're really kicking me in the balls with this. I don't know the full answer. I can only just offer my perspective. I think
that's all I ask for, your perspective.
Yeah. Have I seen many cases where child support is like definitely unfair for both partners, that one has to rely on the other and the other isn't getting as much work probably, or isn't working enough, or it's just by virtue of both people's breakup and circumstances right now, it's just not enough to like support a child. Absolutely, I think it should be reformed. I think there should be at least government allotted stuff beyond what we're already getting. But at the same time, I'm like, there are reasons why the family separated, and the family, I guess, used the child biblically to like pull between them. And that obviously has a negative impact on the child to begin with. I think making it as, even if a family is separated, and you can't fix that in our economy right now, I think there should be an effort, not just from the parents, but just from our local government.
Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you, man. That was great, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will always get an alert when a new video drops.